You know, we didn't plan to come in with this music. It was just automated. But I tell you, it fits with the news that just broke seconds ago at Infowars.com. Russia warns America will be basically nuked if they move the missile defense system into Eastern Europe and Ukraine. Russia warns America will be responded to with nukes. The headline, Russia warns America, we will respond with nukes. Deputy Prime Minister says Moscow preparing a response to U.S. plans for missile shield in Europe. It's obviously red-linked with the link to the official Russian news agency. Lawmakers push for billions to pay for questionable missile defense system. Notice Kurt had already covered that today. Cop who killed 13-year-old boy armed with plastic BB gun back on duty. I'm going to cover that article because sometimes a cop can see somebody with a toy gun and shoot them, and it's a sad thing that it happens, but they think they're in danger. And sometimes I'll research it and say that I think it's regrettable, but the officer did what they thought they had to do. This guy writes for SWAT magazine and had made some bizarre statements about how you got to be, turn your mean on, and you got to just take action, even if it isn't right. And just these guys are running around, literally looking under tables and stuff like terrorists are there. And one reason I know this is I got into competitive shooting in college because one of my dad's friends was an Army guy. He was also a dentist. And he introduced me to it, Dr. Dillingham, really nice guy. And I got into it for a while after he introduced me to it. But I quit doing it because it was mainly tactical units that were going out to these things, and you maybe have a third of the people, civilians as they call us, even though they're civilians, and all the rest of the tactical guys. And you'd have one SWAT team there that were all nice and friendly and just really smart guys. You have a whole other police department would be there, and it was kind of either or each culture, who would literally be like cartoon characters that think they're commandos in movies, like Barney Fife on steroids, that are looking under tables and acting all weird and acting macho and getting mad if you shot better than them, and then actually kind of halfway threatening you, and then you think they're joking. They're like, no, I'll kick your ass. Just really mental patient types. And I look at this guy, and he looks exactly like them. I mean, you'd be out in the middle of nowhere on some 1,000-acre shooting facility, place in the hill country, or I'd go to places up by Dallas, and there'd just be all these police departments out there, and I mean, they're living in fantasy land, folks. And I understand they go on these SWAT raids and stuff that are dangerous, but then they think old ladies are dangerous. They think, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, these are people that are kind of the fake tough. They're not the crazy brave. And you've got this case out in Sonoma County, and I've protested out there against Bohemian Grove. I've dealt with these cops, and they bug their eyes out at you, especially the deputies. Had the fire department, of all people, threaten us to get out of there when we were at a grocery store, come up to us and threaten us, and then cops waiting outside to see if we did something. I mean, they're a bunch of kind of California hillbilly thugs. This kid is out there with an airsoft clear gun. It's clear and yellow, and it has black ends on it. And if you think somebody's got a gun because they're walking down the side of a rural road. That's a rural area out there where this happened, quasi-rural. I mean, I'd see getting behind your car and saying, hands up or something. He just jumped out, said, turn around. Kid turns around, shoots him 7 times. And then I went and read what the guy writes, and it sounds like, you got to get your mean on. It doesn't matter what you do. Take action immediately. Any action's better than no action. Well, that's not true. Any action's better than no action? I have people routinely a couple times a year start a fight with me on the street or somewhere for no reason. And I'll just go, okay, mister, you're right, and do nothing. Doing nothing a lot of times is the best thing to do. And I'm telling you, I've been around these guys. They want to go out, and a lot of the cops get off on it. That's Bub. He's killed 2 people. Oh, it's so manly to be able to shoot somebody. It's like all these Defense Department people that were all chicken hawks in Vietnam and weren't in the military, who are constantly writing articles about we just ought to murder everybody and bomb the whole Middle East. And people like the Prince of Darkness, Pearl at the Pentagon, who would go up to cocktail parties, this has been in the news, and tell good-looking women, I kill a lot of people. I'm really powerful. An obese 400-pound wimp walking up to good-looking reporters and State Department people and saying, hey, baby, I kill people. They're just like, ugh. And that's kind of what this is like. And so I first saw this and thought, oh, that's a tragic story, until I read what he wrote in multiple articles and on forums. And this guy should not be a police officer, in my view, and he should not be the armorer for Sonoma County up there in Northern California. Beautiful wine country. Some of the prettiest places I've ever seen. And we've been out there demonstrating peacefully, and the cops literally have their batons bugging their eyes out at us when we're peacefully out there wanting to get the order to beat our heads in. So, I mean, it's weird. Like guys in uniforms with clubs looking at other Americans that are promoting liberty with big handlebar mustaches. And nothing against them being gay, but you can tell about half of them are, just absolutely, whatever. And they're like into sadomasochism or masochism or something, and they want to beat you up. I mean, it's just, all real fetishized, just real weird guys in tights that want to fight with you. But they want to do it when the odds are against you. You're out there nice, First Amendment. There's 200 of them. You're out there with 100 hippies that showed up to protest the globalist meeting in secret and making policy. And I'm not saying this guy's gay. I'm just saying, you're looking at him and it's just too bizarre. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's bizarre because I'm not claiming I'm the toughest guy around or anything. But, I've beat people's brains in with my own hands, started fights and stuff. And I'm ashamed of that. I don't tell those type of stories to sit there and, feel like I'm a tough guy. I mean, it's sad when you knock somebody over and they're on the ground with blood coming out of their ears and then they are in a coma. I mean, but I see these guys and it's like high five after they do that to some guy that smarts off to them. And you're wimps. You're wimps. You want to do it in a controlled fashion where you can always win. I mean, why don't you go do one of these canned hunts where you shoot the tiger in the cage? That's basically the type of person you are. You're not warriors when you act like this. A warrior defends the innocent and justice and the peace and goes up against bad guys. You guys are so obsessed with your safety. It's this whole religion of our safety. Come home. Don't get killed. Meanwhile, you're being injected with deadly viruses. Meanwhile, the water's full of poison. Meanwhile, our name's being destroyed. Your pension funds have already been stolen. And people that try to go out and demonstrate for the First Amendment in Dallas, I gotta tell you, the Dallas police did not look like devils to me. They look like they're trying to be professional. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. But then here comes the sheriff's department that looked like the most criminal, thug-like, central casting of a maximum security prison I have ever seen, pushing peaceful reporters up against metal fences saying move, knowing they can't move, choking them and bloodying their noses. A group of cowards with guns that want to beat up other men that did nothing to them. That is what I call a bully, coward, scumbag. Go read what this guy says. In fact, let me actually find the quote since I'm talking about it. And then I'm going to get, because I know the cops that are all part of the system are going to take these shots. And I say you deserve it. You trust the system so much, police, that are evil police and serve an order. Go get your anti-PTSD shot. They've got literally hundreds of these that have already been developed, mainly viral-based, that will destroy your mind. You will now be a totally programmable zombie. What happened to Bob? He doesn't even like watching football anymore. He doesn't like bass fishing. All he does is play department training games, which are programming. I mean, it's just open rollout of mind control. Imagine a movie where the government takes over and they're giving people vaccines so they don't have stress anymore, so they're not upset that attack your brain. And then scientists find out and are trying to warn the media and the bad guys are after them. They don't have to do it like that. They just roll it out and go, oh, we have anti-stress vaccines for your kids in school. They feed them a toxic diet. They give them video games, the toxic television, the toxic culture. Your kids act up. They put them on Ritalin. They put them on serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They have more problems. Don't worry. Jenny's been cutting herself and harming herself because all the kid movies and books make it look like it's real cool. They don't point that out. And because of death education, the answer for your daughter is the Zyklon 90 New Freedom shot. That's what they'll call it. I mean, you can actually go read the names of these things in development, but it's stuff like that. I mean, they're putting out prescription amphetamines now I actually took a screenshot of it the other day. Somebody will come get my phone off the floor there. I can actually show people. And it's literal Pentagon designed amphetamines just for the general public for shift disorder. And then it went for like a minute and a half on this long radio ad I heard that was 2 minutes long about how it would kill you and make you have heart attacks and make you hallucinate and make you insane. I mean, this is just total over the top. And they're all just rolling it out in front of everyone like it's no big deal. And I meant to find this drug ad. I actually did find it on YouTube and play it here. It's a couple minutes long, where you think it's satire, but it's not. Let me read to you what the head armorer of Sonoma County said. Trying to find it here. Today is the day you may need to kill someone in order to go home. You cannot turn on the mean gene for yourself. Who will? Taking some kind of action, any kind of action, is critical, he wrote. And it goes on with his writings. Ladies and gentlemen, you turn your mean gene on when you know a predator's coming at you. I wanted to turn my mean gene on with those police in Dallas, with those sheriff's deputies. But I knew my real mean gene knew to beat them politically and rouse the public to the threat. Because I want my life to be spent in something huge. I really want to win, not have some caveman fight with you out in the street. And I wish I could unlock your mind, but I know most of you have already gone too far. I can't. You're so on the power trip of the programming. We've lost you. Now, and that goes for the general public as well. But imagine, they have all this instinctive shooting training. Video games were created so that they could get Vietnam troops to kill people instinctively. That's what Paper Target's popping up. Bad guy, you know, good guy, lady with a baby. Now they have lady with a baby is the bad guy, if you're told. Instinctive shooting, Homeland Security. Kill the woman with the baby in her arms. Kill the 5-year-old boy. And that was confirmed by Homeland Security, and no one else picked it up. It was too extreme. No one could even believe that's what they're training for. They are training them to be absolute killers and get off on it and think it's manly. To be absolutely shaking in fear with instinctive shooting. So you see a gun, and Pavlovianly, this is an armorer, folks. And I've seen the gun in question. I mean, anybody's been to Target, you know this gun. With an orange tip, black with a clear center. Kid turns around, he pumps 7 rounds into him, and then the Police One website celebrated his reinstatement. It wasn't like, well, we're sad for what happened, but it was, you know, understandable that he, you know, acted instinctively to protect himself, and we condolences to the family, but we think he's a good officer. It was like, welcome back, officer, great job. See, it's like you're on the team that's above the law. That's how the globalists are. That's how Warren Buffett and all the billionaires are. They're above the law. They have diplomatic immunity. And so the crimes are so much more legion now. Where I see reports now where they'll go to somebody's house and they'll shoot a chihuahua that's on a leash. I've done reports in Austin where they come to a house over a marijuana raid and don't even find marijuana in that one case because a neighbor said they smelled it next door. What a good neighbor. And the lab, because I don't do this with my lab, was actually chained up in the back kitchen. And the SWAT team came in, and the dog didn't even bark. You've seen the videos where cops pull people over, the door opens, a lab gets out, and they shoot the lab with its tail wagging. The famous video of the yellow lab. It was the same deal with the black lab. The lab gets up, and they shoot it over and over again in the head. And they go, well, it's instinctive shooting. Yeah. These are literally quick draw McGraw to the point of, in New York, they reportedly, and I have it on screen, didn't like a parakeet squawking when they SWAT teamed the house over nothing, it turned out. So they kicked the bird on the ground and stomped on it. I mean, you see these guys, it's like empowered thuggery acting worse than Mexican police I've seen in Mexico or North Korean police I've seen on film. And you sit there and you see how they've mind-controlled them into this culture, and it's just all about them, while the system absolutely hates them. And then meanwhile, there's all these serious issues going on all around us. I'm not going to play the whole report, but since I mentioned this, and now Fox News Today is out there promoting and we'll put it on screen just so you can see what they were promoting, just a screenshot of it, a shot or vaccines. Here's the headline. Vaccines for PTSD. Injection can cure PTSD. And this is just chemically doing it to the brain. But, folks, they have, yeah, there it is, headline, a vaccine for PTSD. Now they're coming out with another one. And that this is going to fix you. Ladies and gentlemen, they're rolling it out saying, it's good, the water's good, come on in. You know, eat, the food's good, it's poison. This is literally the end of free will. This is a 13-minute report. It's on YouTube. It's brain-eating vaccines. I'm going to play just a few minutes of this to encourage you to go find it and watch it. This is from 3 years ago. Here it is. Hundreds of different vaccines. They're really biological re-engineering live viruses that they inject into your body, and the live viruses go in and attack your brain. And they claim, oh, it's to stop drug addiction. Those same receptor sites that pick up opiates and nicotine and alcohol pick up your normal endorphins. It's part of being a normal human being. Those drugs mimic that. And the viruses attack those receptor sites and kill them and create dead tissue. It is a vaccine-induced live virus lobotomy. Now they're coming out and saying the American people and the people of the world are sick. And major medical journals are saying we need to give everybody these shots to make them feel better, to stop having anxiety, to stop being angry. In other words, to take away your instinct for self-preservation, your will to survive, to make you accept all the bad things that are happening, to turn you into a biological android, a type of zombie. You cannot make this up. Please send this video to everyone you know. For God's sakes, understand how serious this is. This is a global, scientific, corporate takeover of life itself. All right. The globalists aren't just re-engineering corn and wheat. And that's only a minute and a half in. I go on to say they're engineering humans, and then we show all the documents. And I told you, because these were in development then, I was reading research papers, they're going to roll them out as anti-stress and anti-PTSD, and now it's here. Do you understand? It'll be like, I get 20% off at Walgreens or CVS if you take the anti-stress vaccine. I tried it. We're talking about an attack on free will. We're talking about vaccines for permanent brain damage, lobotomy, mind control. And they just roll it out like it's no big deal. And if we don't attack this now, I tried to attack it when they were developing it behind the scenes. Now they're rolling it out everywhere. As, oh, you're unhappy about the world? Take this shot. Never be unhappy again. And it is so over the top that it's just like the NSA when I warned you about that. We could have stopped it 18 years ago. Now it's so ubiquitous, they just think you're done. And now it's going to be, yeah, my neighbor, he just doesn't really talk anymore. He still works and does whatever he's told. It makes you highly suggestible. They're literally, like in the movie Black Hole, where they're firing a laser into their brains to lobotomize them, and they're not androids, and the guy goes, that android has a limp and looks incredibly human. This is beyond Body Snatchers, beyond a science fiction movie, and I'm just here watching them go, oh, you take this shot with viruses that fix your brain. And I can't get people upset about it. On YouTube, when I put that video out, I showed all these documents and all this research that we did. A bunch of people made jokes because they've been culturally brainwashed and dumbed down and controlled. And it literally puts me into a rage because we're being soft-killed, we're being attacked. This is all really happening on record, and I just want to turn it around. I haven't gotten to all the news. I haven't covered really any of the news yet. It's all massive. Russia threatening to nuke Europe or the U.S. if they put the missiles in up against their border, just like the Cuban Missile Crisis, we threaten to nuke them. This is the insanity of the establishment. We've got bubonic plague, killed 20 villagers in Madagascar. We're going to get into Colin Powell is coming out, basically endorsing single payer. It just gets worse and worse. We're going to be breaking it all down, but knowing is half the battle. New H7N1. New H7N9 bird flu resist drugs without losing ability to spread. It just goes on and on. And knowing about this is good. We're not trying to be negative. The facts are facts. We got to admit we've let a bunch of crazy people a bunch of child molesters and devil worshippers and control freaks and scum take over. It always happens in history. It's happened again. This time they've got godlike weapons, and they're going to destroy us and themselves along with the whole planet. Oh, my gosh. I just can't even handle it anymore. By the way, we fund our operation with products that we produce that are high quality, like the new 1776 clothing line that's made in America. I'm really proud of it. Made1776.com, or just go to InfoWarsStore.com to find it. You've got like one more day to get the Pro Pure 20% off water filters at InfoWarsStore.com as well. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it is incredibly stressful how insane all of this is, and I have been more stressed out lately than I've ever been in my life. And I realize it's probably because my cousin died of whatever this weaponized bacteria it looks like in people's lungs now. They went and did cultures. My uncle's in the hospital. A lot of people I know have died from this. I mean, young, healthy people. Rob Dew had a good friend, 34, die. And, of course, you're not hearing about that in the news with these new super bacteria that even the World Health Organization predicts are going to kill potentially hundreds of millions a year. They're already killing tens of millions a year. And their answer is more antibiotics, more antibiotics. The overuse of it is what's allowed all this. And it's probably engineered. And I am just in a controlled rage right now, which I haven't been in a long time. And I'm just sick of the corruption of society, the lying in the general public, and the dishonorableness that is just increasing by the minute. We've got to hold fast, though, and calm down and just trust in God. We just got to trust in God. John B. Wells' flight was delayed in Dallas, but he thinks he'll be here on time. Is John B. Wells here yet? Oh, he is here. I forgot to ask that during my ranting during the break. Oh, yeah, the real radio show's going on during the breaks here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm a weirdo. When I read DARPA plans from 20 years ago to develop bioengineering so-called vaccines that re-engineer the brain, and I've been warning people for more than a decade about this. And then when I start seeing movies the last 3-4 years promoting in the future, they give you a shot to make you behave yourself for there on after, or the elite get them the brain boost. So they're already selling viruses in your brain, attacking your brain as a brain boost. I mean, you could tell people it was elitist to, you know, stick their hand in a garbage disposal, and I'm telling you, half the yuppies would do it. And now they're like, oh, the troops are going to be taken care of. We make them serve 5, 6, 7 tours that no one's ever done before. Even more than 1 tour is not, you know, recommended. And we're putting them on all these drugs, and all the troops I talk to, where they make them go on psychotropics for no reason. They make them go on opiates so they can claim that they're mentally ill. And then now, oh, we got a shot for you after 7 years, 8 years of combat. And it's literally a shot to decommission an old horse. I mean, it's literally like taking your old horse. And horses are instinctive. They're actually real smart. People think horses are stupid. They're not. They're real high-blooded. And an old horse, folks, I've read a lot of accounts of this, when the Elmer's glue truck comes, and you can get, you know, $50 for the horse nowadays, back then a couple dollars, to render down their spinal cord, their hooves, and everything into glue or into glycerin, you know, animal-based glycerin. Our glycerin, our products, is plant-based, but animal-based glycerin gelatin. And the horse that's known you for 20 years will freak out and fight for its life, even though it's been loaded up in a trailer 500 times when that glue truck pulls up. Because they can smell the horse's fear. They know. That's why they've always got, you know, they get the owner to come out and soothe you on board. And I'm watching the establishment put the troops on the glue truck, and they're getting the needles out. They're already doing the, quote, trials at the military bases to put out all their fake reports. And they're going to spike everybody with this stuff, and then they're going to come for me and my family. And we're just in a giant psychopathic petri dish, a giant psych ward, psych warfare system with these scumbags literally having their way with us because they love hurting people. And if people would just wake up to it, it could all end. But it's so horrific that the average person who comes face to face with such a monumentally wicked conspiracy that's so open, hidden in plain view, that they can't face it. I mean, anybody listening could go find out that they're planning to roll out vaccines for culture control to literally brain damage everyone and try to take our free will and our joy and our pain away, our humanity away. I mean, this is beyond anything ever even imagined, and it's happening not with a bang but with a whimper. And God help us. God help us.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.
All right, folks, I'm going to finish up with what I was covering in the last hour, the attack on free will, the attack on the individual, the attack on consciousness these devils are engaged in. Just to put bookends on this, and I'm going to do some special reports the next week, updating people. They've been developing for 2 decades brain-attacking, re-engineering viruses that are designed to only go into certain areas of the brain and to destroy areas of the brain that are uploading electrochemical impulses and exchanging chemicals. That's how it attacks. I mean, the virus attacks the whole brain in all the studies, but it doesn't activate and replicate except in the cells right around the compounds. So that's how it's able to target certain receptor sites in the ganglia. And this is the stuff they admit they've got. And what I want to explain to you is we already caught them with the H1N1 5 years ago. We had medical doctors on it. Later came out this was true. When I heard it, I found it hard to believe, but they'd done the test with electron microscopes and looked at it. They had put H1N1 in the vaccine as a, quote, simulant, an attenuated virus, but one that was able to replicate. So I guess that isn't attenuated. They called it attenuated. It's not even attenuated. I guess it's just altered to track the spread of the virus the next year. And then that was actually the H1N1 outbreak. And so we have a government and a system that's done thousands of lethal chemical and biological and radiological tests on Americans, troops, foster kids, Native Americans, black people especially. Blacks and Native Americans have just hammered the daylights out of them. But they do it to everybody. Poor Appalachian folks. Basically anybody they think nobody will listen to. And they've hammered people up one side and down the other, devastating the U.S. military. They've done this in other countries. Britain's been caught over and over again, nerve gassing people, you name it, giving them bioweapons to see how fast it kills them, and to then render their organs down to create the mass seed viruses and seed bacteria to then create the larger vats of it, just like they use monkey kidneys and things to produce the polio vaccine. They use the innards because the families get the troops back in England and in Germany and Europe and in the U.S. and Canada over and over again in the congressional hearings, and then there's like a side issue, and they took his organs. Well, of course they did, honey. They took your son or your daughter or your husband, and they gutted them, and they used them to make more of the weapon. And the elite's view is we deserve all of this. We deserve all of this because we put up with it. That's what they say. The elites say that, and I actually agree with them. I don't deserve it. I don't like it, and I don't want to be part of it. And I'm not going to join you. And I know the big giant mass of the public will rather tear me apart than save their families. I understand that. But we got to do the right moral thing here. I understand that this is probably all going to have to unfold 1,000 times worse than it is now before anybody ever finally wakes up. And by then they'll be injected through the flu vaccines and the rest of it. The point I'm trying to get to is this. They're not just going to come out and say, are you stressed? Which I told you they'd do 3 years ago in the video and is now being announced. Because they said they were going to roll it out when they got approval as a stress vaccine. And I went and showed it to virologists and medical doctors and endocrinologists and others. We had them on air. And they said, no, you're right, Mr. Jones, and we didn't know about this. This is a giant area of government development worldwide for behavioral vaccines is what they're actually called. And people that are involved in it sent me more info. And most of these scientists are just leaving the country or hiding out in the mountains now, folks. I mean, that's the thing, is the scientists are totally freaked out. Instead of doing anything and challenging it, people run with their families and hide. You think you're going to be able to hide from the rollout of weaponized viruses that literally re-engineer our brains and turn us into idiots? Notice in the movies, what was the name of the latest Born? The Born Legacy. I tried to watch that again the other night, but I was so tired I turned it off. But you watch that. That's real, folks. That's real. But they roll it out, though, to the public in a movie about brain-boosting vaccines. They're not really boosting your brain, and actually they don't really increase intelligence. They can get rid of certain inhibitions and make you where you're ready to march 100 miles, not 50 miles. Your body has a governor, just like your car has a governor, so you don't blow your engine. That's why they hypnotize Olympic athletes and stuff, so that they'll go through and bench more than they can do or squat more or jump more. That's the reason they keep breaking all the records. It isn't just the drugs, it's the hypnotism. Folks, this isn't hypnotism. They're giving Special Forces troops and the boys from Virginia, as they're known, the private corporate ops above Delta Force, all sorts of stuff. And these guys are dying young. They're having mental breakups. And it's just like the Born Legacy, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm telling you, it's real. And it's way beyond that. They got brain chips in them. And there it is in the news. Gulf War syndrome, ADHD. Blaylock breaks down what the vaccines have done. And I got all this other news. But what does it all matter if with video games they're brainwashing the public, with the TV, the culture, with the chemicals and the food, the water, and the electromagnetic, and these viruses and all of it, and this is all real. Do you understand? I'm not trying to be shocking when I told you 5 years ago that your Xbox and other interactive games were being tracked by the government and have the CIA and FBI in them. It had already come out in federal court cases. Now they tell you, because it's in a Snowden document. And people are like, oh, come on, Alex, you know, a decade ago, your phone doesn't listen to you even when it's off. And, you know, there aren't cameras on the camera on the computer isn't watching you. And, of course, now it all comes out. Because it was already out. Okay, I'm not lying to you about the viruses in the vaccines, the cancer viruses in them. They're killing us. And I know it's scary to admit I'm telling you the truth. How would you like being on the air and being the tip of the spear talking about this? How would you like that? The only reason I'm not dead is because people are praying for me and God's in control. But outside of that, in the temporal zone, you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that now I've said so much that they hope no one pays attention. And they can just misrepresent what I've said in the news and assassinate my character so that people don't go actually look at what I've said. If they kill me, it will make everyone go look at what I've said. That's the only reason I'm alive. And they may still kill me because they can tell I'm getting smarter, I'm getting more professional, more profound. And I can in my gut and my spirit tell that if I become even more effective, they will probably wipe me out or set me up. And, hey, I have a responsibility. What am I supposed to do, just kind of back off and let them start giving people vaccines that literally eat their brains? Am I supposed to just play ball with Satan? I can't do it. And I don't look forward to being killed. I don't look forward to being tortured. I don't look forward to being in some dungeon with these people, but I got to do what I got to do. I mean, I just cannot be a coward and stand down and watch these people hurt innocents and ruin humanity and vandalize our human species because they're devils. I just can't be part of it, folks. And I want you to decide you're not going to be part of it because as God is my witness and on a stack of Bibles and my children, I'm telling you the best truth I can. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I'm trying to be truthful with people. And what I'm telling you is verified. It's so much more horrible and sophisticated because I'm trying to track the life work of the globalist in the life of their 200-year or so corporation. That's about how old this current Malthusian plan is, picked up by the British Empire, the most powerful empire in the world at that time, and then deployed as the dominant world system of anti-human, turn us into animals, turn us into robots. I mean, they said 100-something years ago, discover the genes. They already knew. That's why the symbol of medicine is a double snakes together. I mean, this is a lot more advanced, folks, than what people even know. And the elite believe they're getting spiritual knowledge from what they call angels or goddesses. And I don't even get off into all this. I'm just telling you as a sociological view, where they think they're getting this knowledge is from other dimensional entities. You know, we call it the devil. Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove. I mean, they take this serious. And, folks, I tend to think they are getting it from advanced intelligences. I mean, when you read stuff from 1855 where they created biometrics to discover the genes of humans so that they could become master engineers and become God. And then they've done it. They haven't become God, but they've I mean, this is off-world, folks. You can call it whatever you want, okay? The Bible says it's spiritual entities that fell to earth that are manipulating humanity in a war with God. And I mean, the more I look at it and back off from it, it's like, whoa, man. I'll say this. I don't know how they came up with all this, okay? But I'm telling you, I study it, and it is the most evil, anti-human, murderous, destructive thing. And these people have appetites to hurt innocent children and to murder people and to hurt people. They're not trying to develop all this to empower humanity. They're doing it to not just kill humanity. They could probably already release a bioweapon and kill almost everybody. They want to fundamentally wreck us and ruin us and destroy our free will and then turn us into an abomination before they kill us. And it's about 1,000 levels deeper into hell than something like Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy, you know, torturing little kids and stuff. I mean, I have seen hell, ladies and gentlemen. I have studied their writings. I have looked at it. These people make the crew from Hellraiser look like good guys, okay? And so I'm just telling you, there's no making a deal with these people. They are the sworn enemy of life itself. And if you don't decide to fight them, you are signing up with abomination. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other members of the fluorine family that are added to Western water supplies are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the people that drink it. So the question is, why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We developed Fluoride Shield to be the highest quality, highest standards because I use it every day and my family uses it every single day. Let's take a closer look at the ingredients that make up this special proprietary formula. Tamarind has been celebrated for its ability to immobilize toxic fluoride residues, while zeolites have a long history of attracting and holding toxic compounds. Enter fulvic acid, an excellent cleansing agent. Then we added the highest quality shilajit, a rare compound that is collected from the high mountains of the Himalayas. We topped it all off with the powerhouse herb cilantro that is intended to mobilize fluoride and other dangerous compounds for removal from the body. And the final touch to energize this formula is our proprietary nascent iodine. And as always, consult your physician as well because that is important. And finally, Fluoride Shield, Survival Shield, and all the products at InfoWarsLife.com grew out of my quest to try to find the very best compounds from God's cornucopia to protect myself and my family. And from our research, I believe we are bringing you the best, highest quality products. And you have that commitment from Alex Jones and the entire InfoWars crew. You know, occasionally I really get on air and just kind of break down and just tell you what I'm really feeling when I wake up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat in the middle of the night. I mean, I've analyzed what these people are doing, and it is, I'm like a detective who for 20 years, 21 years being a political activist, 18 years on air, is immersed in this. And I mean, listeners, you know I don't make this stuff up. I can rattle off documents, names, U.S. code. I've so immersed myself in it that I know, and this is really humbling, actually. It's not an arrogant statement. I know more about the New World Order than almost anybody in general overall knowledge. There are a lot of specialists out there that know more than I do in certain areas. There are globalists, technocrats who understand the master plan, who built it, who obviously know more than I do. But then they can't even see it from the perspective of somebody who wants justice and liberty in a future. They follow a very dark flame. And so it is a bizarre position to be in, and to also just see how it's all out in the open. But it's so complex and so big, I can't really blame people that hear this show and think I'm nuts, because I've been studying this for 20-plus years and loving history before that, preparing me for this in the school of being streetwise growing up in Dallas, that everything in my life has led me towards this point. Everything that happened to me was part of the journey, part of God preparing me for my work, and God's prepared you for your work. And it's just bizarre to be in this position, and bizarre to feel like I'm in one of those old movies. I've used this analogy many times, where the archaeologists, because this really happened in some famous cases, is what it's based on, would go into a throne room in South America or in the Middle East of a pyramid or a temple, and then all of a sudden the walls would start closing. You know, a big rock would fall down on the entrance and the walls would start closing, and sand would start pouring in, or a big boulder would come rolling down at them. And I'm in here with everybody else, the sand's coming in, the walls are closing, and I'm going, those walls are closing. And people are like, no, they're not. And they're like, actually, they are, but maybe the walls just want to hug us, Alex. And I'm like, now we're all squashed in here. I'm like, no, it's not. We got to find the lever to get out of here. And we collectively cannot get out of this unless people really have a break with the system. You've got to have a break with it and realize and come out of the matrix and really come out of the false reality and come out of the artificial habitat that they haven't completed yet. That's what's scary about this, is they're building the cage around us and then talking to us like we're kids, going, there's no cage getting built around you. And we're like, yes, there is. And then it all comes out. It all gets confirmed, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And there is a big awakening happening. That's positive, but not big enough. We can't just awaken to it and then know it's bad. We have to awaken to it and then do something. And John B. Wells is going to co-host with us for an hour and a half today. Then he's going to be on the nightly news. Real treat to get the Saturday host of Coast to Coast AM. .com down here. I love George Norrie, and I just love John B. Wells and the whole crew over there. I think it's some of the best radio out there, just to get people thinking. And I like the direction that he and George have taken Coast to Coast to a more libertarian, patriot bent. And really, George Norrie especially, being there 14 years or whatever it is, or 10 years, 11 years, whatever it is, has really, done a lot to make the show about 60% hard news and the other fun stuff, where it used to be 90%, of the fun stuff, as they call it, the chupacabras and all the rest of it. I've really seen Coast to Coast help get people outside the box on so many fronts. So some good certainly coming out of that, and I like John B. Wells. He's also a famous voice actor as well, and so we'll get him in studio with us. And then I will cover all this news. There's like literally, I don't know, 10 or so stacks of key news here. All of it is absolutely important, and we'll cover it all. Briefly, because Christmas is here, that's a great time to wake up friends and family. You can get 5 months free right now with a nightly news membership at InfoWarsNews.com or PrisonPlanet.tv. 5 months free right now. When you sign up for 6.5 months, you get the other 5.5 months free is what it comes out to on the yearly membership. Or you can do the monthly, $5.95. and you get 11 memberships for the price of one, I should add. We literally just use that to pay for the bandwidth and the website and some of the crew on the TV show, and it's really helped us get ready to launch the new studio and put the TV show on some cable systems. And very, very soon, we're finally getting to it in just a few months or even closer. So thank you for becoming PrisonPlanet.tv members and giving that as a Christmas gift or a gift this holiday. And we're going to end the special tomorrow morning. 20% off with promo code WATER20 on all the Pro Pure stainless steel gravity-fed filters that cut out the fluoride. They're the best product out there. Lowest price anywhere at InfoWarsStore.com with promo code WATER20. And that promo will end tomorrow morning.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happens.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.